Title 11, Crimes Against Chastity. Chapter 1, Adultery and Concubinage. Article 333. Who are guilty of adultery? Adultery is committed by any married woman who shall have sexual intercourse with a man not her husband, and by the man who has carnal knowledge of her, knowing her to be married, even if the marriage be subsequently declared void. Adultery shall be punished by prisión correccional in its medium and maximum periods. If the person guilty of adultery committed this offense while being abandoned without justification by the offended spouse, the penalty, next lower in degree than that provided in the next preceding paragraph, shall be imposed. Article 334. Concubinage. Any husband who shall keep a mistress in the conjugal dwelling, or shall have sexual intercourse, under scandalous circumstances, with a woman who is not his wife, or shall cohabit with her in any other place, shall be punished by prisión correccional in its minimum and medium periods. The concubine shall suffer the penalty of destierro. Chapter 2. Rape and Acts of Lasciviousness. Article 335 of the Revised Penal Code has been repealed by RA number 8353, or the Anti-Rape Law of 1997, effective October 22, 1997. New provisions on rape are found in Articles 266A to 266G of the Revised Penal Code. Article 336. Acts of lasciviousness. Any person who shall commit any act of lasciviousness upon other persons of either sex, under any of the circumstances mentioned in the preceding article, shall be punished by prisión correccional. Chapter 3. Seduction, corruption of minors, and white slave trade. Article 337. Qualified seduction. The seduction of a virgin over 12 years and under 18 years of age, committed by any person in public authority, priest, home servant, domestic, guardian, teacher, or any person who, in any capacity, shall be entrusted with the education or custody of the woman seduced, shall be punished by prisión correccional in its minimum and medium periods. The penalty next higher in degree shall be imposed upon any person who shall seduce his sister or descendant, whether or not she be a virgin or over 18 years of age. Under the provisions of this chapter, seduction is committed when the offender has carnal knowledge of any of the persons and under the circumstances described herein. Article 338. Simple seduction. The seduction of a woman who is single or a widow of good reputation, over 12 but under 18 years of age, committed by means of deceit, shall be punished by arresto mayor. Article 339. Acts of lasciviousness with the consent of the offended party. The penalty of arresto mayor shall be imposed to punish any other acts of lasciviousness committed by the same persons and under the same circumstances as those provided in Articles 337 and 338. Article 340. Corruption of minors. Any person who shall promote or facilitate the prostitution or corruption of persons underage to satisfy the lust of another shall be punished by prisión mayor, and if the culprit is a public officer or employee, including those in government-owned or controlled corporations, he shall also suffer the penalty of temporary absolute disqualification, as amended by Batas Pambansa Bilang 92. Note that under Section 10 of RA number 7610, the penalty for corruption of minors, if the victim is under 12 years of age, shall be graduated 1 degree higher. Article 341. White slave trade. The penalty of prisión correccional in its medium and maximum periods shall be imposed upon any person who, in any manner or under any pretext, shall engage in the business, or shall profit by prostitution, or shall enlist the services of any other for the purpose of prostitution, as amended by Batas Pambansa Bilang 186, March 16, 1982. Note that under Section 10 of RA number 7610, the penalty for white slavery if the victim is under 12 years of age shall be graduated 1 degree higher. Chapter 4, Abduction. Article 342, Forcible Abduction. The abduction of any woman against her will and with lewd designs shall be punished by reclusion temporal. The same penalty shall be imposed in every case if the female abducted be under 12 years of age. Article 343. Consented abduction. The abduction of a virgin over 12 and under 18 years of age, carried out with her consent and with lewd designs, shall be punished by the penalty of prisión correccional in its minimum and medium periods. Chapter 5. Provisions relative to the preceding chapters of Title 11. Article 344. Prosecutions of the crimes of adultery, concubinage, seduction, abduction, rape, and acts of lasciviousness. The crimes of adultery and concubinage shall not be prosecuted except upon a complaint filed by the offended spouse. The offended party cannot institute criminal prosecution without including both the guilty parties if they are both alive, nor, in any case, if he shall have consented or pardoned the offenders. The offenses of seduction, abduction, rape, or acts of lasciviousness shall not be prosecuted except upon a complaint filed by the offended party or her parents, grandparents, or guardian, nor in any case if the offender has been expressly pardoned by the above named persons, as the case may be. In cases of seduction, abduction, acts of lasciviousness, and rape, the marriage of the offender with the offended party shall extinguish the criminal action or remit the penalty already imposed upon him. The provisions of this paragraph shall also be applicable to the co-principals, accomplices, and accessories after the fact of the above mentioned crimes. Article 345. Civil liability of persons guilty of crimes against chastity. Persons guilty of rape, seduction, or abduction shall also be sentenced: 1. To indemnify the offended woman; 2. To acknowledge the offspring, unless the law should prevent him from so doing; 3. In every case, to support the offspring. The adulterer and the concubine in the case provided for in Articles 333 and 334 may also be sentenced in the same proceeding or in a separate civil proceeding to indemnify for damages caused to the offended spouse. Article 346. Liability of ascendants, guardians, teachers, or other persons entrusted with the custody of the offended party. The ascendants, guardians, curators, teachers, and any person who, by abuse of authority or confidential relationships, shall cooperate as accomplices in the perpetration of the crimes embraced in chapters 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of this title, shall be punished as principals. Teachers or other persons in any other capacity entrusted with the education and guidance of youth shall also suffer the penalty of temporary special disqualification in its maximum period to perpetual special disqualification. Any person falling within the terms of this article, and any other person guilty of corruption of minors for the benefit of another, shall be punished by special disqualification from filling the office of guardian. This is the end of Title 11.